Welcome back to News and Views with myself, Salalo Makwidiri. And this hour of News and Views is sponsored by Africa Muslims Agency. Africa Muslims Agency, a beacon of hope to communities for over 35 years in Africa and beyond. Today, on the 29th of November, the world observes the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people, a day rooted in history, resilience, and the unwavering pursuit for justice. It was on this day in 1947 that the United Nations adopted Resolution 181, the partition plan for Palestine, marking a turning point in Palestinian history. This annual observance, as called for by the UN General Assembly, is not just a reminder of the challenges faced by the Palestinian people, but a call to action for the global community to uphold their inalienable rights, including the rights to self-determination and statehood. As we reflect on the significance of this day, we'll be joined by very, very dedicated activists who will be sharing their messages of solidarity. Through their voices, we'll hear the stories, struggles, and aspirations for Palestinians as they continue to endure occupation, displacement, genocide, and systematic injustice. And our first guest is the founder of Social Intifada, Khalid Vauda, who's joining us via StreamYard. Khalid, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Salam Media. Always a pleasure having you chat to us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
I think, we can get right into it. International Day of Palestinian Solidarity, a very, very important day, very, very relevant day, especially looking at the current state of affairs. But personally, what is global solidarity, especially at this critical moment? What does it mean, especially for the people of Palestine? And also, what does the International Day for Solidarity with the people of Palestine mean to you, also personally?
So international solidarity is everybody coming together, irrespective of background, irrespective of ethnicity, irrespective of faith, but everybody coming together for the common cause. And that cause is the liberation of Palestine from occupation, from ethno-settler colonialism that's been going on for more than 7 decades. People from all walks of life, all over the world, you'll see probably in major cities around the world today, you'll pick up on the news, there'll be massive demonstrations, there'll be protests, there'll be calls for action coming from civil society, from various groups that are working towards the liberation of Palestine, including governmental groups as well. So it's a coming together. It's a coming together of people united for a common cause. People and individuals and groups might have differences between them, but they're united in this common cause. And that is to end the injustice and the oppression that's been meted out to the Palestinian people for more than 7 decades. Personally, what this means, just the second part of your question.
Yes.
Personally, for me and for us at Social Intifada, it's something that our lives are dedicated to. Palestine is not going to be free we're not going to be free until Palestine is free. And for as long as I've been alive, Palestine's been under occupation. As long as my kids have been alive, Palestine's been under occupation. And I must remind your viewers and your listeners, the current genocide that we're seeing, we're 417 days into the genocide in Gaza. This is the latest genocide in a series of genocides. This is not the only genocide that has been committed against the people of Palestine. The Israeli entity, Apartheid Israel, has been systematically committing genocide and ethnic cleansing against the people of Palestine over the 7 decades. This just happens to be the worst of them in terms of the number of casualties, in terms of the destruction, the sheer destruction that we're seeing. 60 to 70% of Gaza has been completely obliterated. The estimates of official deaths that have gone through the Gaza Health Ministry, meaning these deaths are recorded by the health ministry, have exceeded 44,000. 70% of those are women and children. That's not to say men's lives don't matter. No, they matter as well. All of those people deserved life. Yet Israel saw it fit to just rain down bombs on people and to destroy the entire infrastructure. The entire civil infrastructure in Gaza has been decimated. So there is no civil registry anymore. The civil records, archives, historical records that have been carefully preserved in Gaza have all been destroyed. There's not a single university standing in Gaza. They've all been destroyed. Gaza and Palestine have the highest number of university graduates per capita in the world. In the world. Despite the difficulties they face, lack of electricity, lack of facilities, they are the most educated nation on the face of the earth. So it's a people who want to live. It's a people who want their freedom, and they deserve human rights. They deserve dignity just like every other human being on the face of the earth. However, we have a disgusting, despicable, genocidal, maniac state, illegal entity, which is doing everything in its power, militarily and otherwise, to ensure that Palestinians do not live their lives in dignity, that they pick up the pieces of their children from the rubble, if they manage to get them out from the rubble, that they bury their kids not knowing whether those were actually their kids because they have been dismembered, and that families don't know where the rest of their families are. It's an absolutely atrocious state of affairs that we find ourselves in 2024. That we've got a genocide that is being live streamed to us on a daily basis, and we have 2 or 3 or 4 nations that are holding the entire world to ransom. This is the democracy that they've promised.
And I think we're going to leave it on that note. Khalid, thank you so much. We're going to move on to other activists from different parts of the world. But we really appreciate you giving us your time this morning. Jazakallah so much.
Oh, yeah, it's a pleasure.
There we go. We're going to get a strong message of solidarity coming out of Malaysia. This is from Farwina Farouk. She's the Secretary General of PDS Malaysia. Take a listen.
Assalamu alaikum, I'm Farwina Farouk. I have a message on this International Day of Solidarity for Palestinian people. I want to take a moment to reflect on a critical issue, the global call to end illegal settlements and the occupation of Palestinian land. For decades, Palestinians, they have been denied their basic human rights. Illegal settlements continue to expand, displacing families, destroying livelihoods, and violating international laws. This is not just a Palestinian issue, it's a global issue of injustice and accountability. The boycott, divestment, and sanctions BDS movement has shown us that ordinary people like you and me, we can create extraordinary change by pressuring companies and institutions complicit in this injustice and urging our governments to take a stand against apartheid policies. We can make a difference. We have the power to influence change. As citizens, we must demand our leaders enforce embargoes on arms and trade with companies fueling the occupation and the genocide. Insist that our government speaks up at United Nations, kick Israel out from United Nations, write letters, attend protests, and spread awareness. Solidarity is not passive. It is active and intentional. Make it clear that we will not support systems that oppress and displace innocent lives. Together, advocate for a free Palestine where its people can live in dignity and peace. Free Palestine.
All right, that was a very, very strong and powerful message from Farwina Farouk. She's the Secretary General of PDS Malaysia. But up next, we'll be joined by Professor Yusuf Chikte, who's also going to be giving us a very, very strong and powerful message as we commemorate, I think, one of the most important days when it comes to Palestinian solidarity. Prof, a very, very important day today. Just from your side, what message would you like South Africans and the rest of the world to hear on this very important and significant day, and a very, very relevant day considering the current state of affairs?
Yeah, we are here in Cape Town outside the US consulate in the belly of the beast. We are here to protest against a US-backed genocide in Israel, and we are telling the United States of America that they must stop supporting Israel, they must stop supporting the genocide, they must stop funding the genocide, they must stop protecting Israel in its apartheid escapade in the Palestinian lands. It is a horrific attack that is genocidal slaughter and industrial slaughter that is being perpetrated against the Palestinians, and we're asking them to stop it. They must stop the vetoing for peace. They must stop the vetoing for a ceasefire. They must stop any and all kinds of trades, and they must stop us from arresting Netanyahu, arresting Yoav Gallant, arresting all the military brass and everybody compromised, aiding and abetting and committing a genocide there. So that's why we are here. We won't stop it. The United States is doing that. It's supporting Israel because Israel is not a real country. Israel is a manufactured entity designed to support the plunder and the pillaging of the resources of the Middle East, and the Palestinians are standing at the forefront of blocking them. And we must support the Palestinians, and we salute the Lebanese Lions. We salute the Houthis in stopping the trade over there. So what we are saying, stop the trade, stop the arms, and don't play with apartheid Israel. Thank you.
There we go. Powerful message from Professor Yusuf Chikte from the Palestinian Solidarity Campaign. We're going to move on now. Chatting to us and giving us a message is Nazim Adam. He's a Palestinian Solidarity Alliance coordinator. Nazim, Jazakallah so much for joining us. Very, very important day, very significant day. Your message to South Africans and the world, as we observe solidarity with the people of Palestine.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Selelo, good to be with Salam Media. Yeah, it's a significant day in that it is a day that was established long before October 7th as a day of solidarity with the Palestinian people. I think it goes back to the United Nations around 2005, 2006. What we are seeing, and the message is that there is always hope. Despite the destruction, and we know it's a horrific genocide and thousands of deaths, thousands of people under the rubble, almost all homes and all livelihoods destroyed, yet we are seeing that what Gaza has done, it has awakened the world to the truth and the reality of what Israel is, and that it is a racist apartheid state bent on destroying all in its midst. It is an expanding state. It does not recognize the rights of any other human being except those of the Jewish population of Israel. It is the exposure of the United States in its complicity, and the UK is evident for all to see with all of the vetoes that have gone through. What the South African government has done in the last year is also a reminder of what is possible, and it is the pursuance of international justice, so that justice is not only for certain people and certain nations, and that it's not only applied to African dictators, but it must also be applied to warmongers and merciless killers like the Netanyahus of the world. So the pursuance of international justice has come under the microscope. We've seen human rights activists emerge across the globe. We've also seen a shift to the right in terms of American politics, but this just means that those that are defenders of human rights and dignity and equality for all need to up our game. And one of the ways that we're going to do that is to up the boycott, divestments and sanctions campaign. We're seeing on the ground movements emerging in South Africa. We need to intensify the boycott against Discovery Medical Aid for their complicity, in fact, their participation in the genocide, their deliberate challenge to us as the Solidarity by hosting that conference in South Africa. I think that Discovery Health needs to come under a full onslaught of the BDS movement. We see internationally Starbucks, McDonald's closing, and we for a long time thought that we can't take on the multinationals. But note that this week, the International BDS committee, we have launched the Coca-Cola boycott, so we're going to intensify that boycott as well. Our boycotts against Milko continue. But most significantly, we need to push our government and our trade unions across the board to stop the supply of coal to Israel. After Colombia stopped supplying coal, we became the largest supplier of coal energy to Israel, and we know that energy fuels the economy and fuels the war machine that is conducting the genocide in Gaza, and also the occupation and genocide that's happening in the West Bank. So we need to up our game, and we need to, as we end 2024 and go into 2025, let's all re-energize ourselves and take the momentum that has emerged from the resilience of Gaza and take that forward into 2025 with intense campaigns for the isolation of this pariah state that is apartheid Israel.
There you have it. That was Nazim Adam, Palestinian Solidarity Alliance coordinator. Very, very powerful and strong message. We're going to be moving on now in a bit. We'll be talking to Ali Komape. Well, he's representing Africa for Palestine, and I think he's joining us telephonically. Ali, can you hear me?
How are you, my brother?
I'm well. I'm well. Thank you so much. Ali, we are commemorating resistance. We are commemorating bravery. We are commemorating a right for human rights. We are commemorating the International Day for Solidarity with the people of Palestine. A message from you guys, a message from Africa for Palestine.
We believe that every year we have this United Nations International Day of Solidarity, where we have seminars. There are ministers who hold press conferences and so on. But we have never held a day at this point in time where Palestinians are being slaughtered in their thousands, the tens of thousands. And we believe that this will change the nature of how we commemorate this day. It has to be a day of action. It no longer has to be a day of paying lip service and highlighting what's happening in Palestine, raising awareness. No, it's an issue of action now. And we think that United Nations member states, because this is the United Nations Day of Solidarity with Palestine, have to take action. We are inspired by the South African government for taking Israel to the ICJ, and that is practical, actionable solidarity. 60 other countries joined in on the case as well. And this is an example of what this day represents. There must be action. Solidarity is love in public action. So there must be action. And we believe that post this day, we're going to have action and no longer deliberations, lip service, and semantics.
No, definitely very powerful message there from Ali Goma. But we're going to be moving on now. We'll be playing another strong message of solidarity coming out of Canada. We'll be hearing from Charlotte Kate Samudin. She's a Palestinian Prisoner Solidarity Network out in Canada. Take a listen.
Greetings to all at Salam Media on the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people in 2024. My name is Charlotte Cates, and I'm the co-founder of Samudin Palestinian Prisoner Solidarity Network, an international network of organizers and activists struggling for the liberation of Palestinian political prisoners as part and parcel of the liberation of Palestine from the river to the sea. As we mark this International Day of Solidarity in 2024, let us remember that this day commemorates a great crime committed against the Palestinian people by the United Nations and by the so-called international community, that is the partition of Palestine in 1947 in Resolution 181. Today, on this International Day of Solidarity, let us be clear that as the Palestinian people, led by their heroic armed resistance, confront the genocidal forces of the Zionist regime in Gaza and throughout Palestine, genocidal forces that are backed up by the billions of dollars in weaponry and the unlimited political, economic, diplomatic, and military support of the imperialist powers of the world, the United States, Germany, Canada, Britain, France, and their cohorts, that on this International Day of Solidarity, we all pledge to stand with the Palestinian people, with their resistance, for the liberation of Palestine from the river to the sea, to undo the great crime of 1947, the great crime of the permission of genocide in occupied Palestine, and to stand with the full liberation of all of Palestine. Because on this International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people, it is clear to all that Zionism can no longer be accepted, that Zionism and the Zionist project and its imperialist backers in occupied Palestine must be defeated in defense of Palestine, in defense of justice, and in defense of humanity. So today, as Netanyahu and Gallant and their fellow war criminals are pursued by the International Criminal Court, let us build the international popular pursuit of those war criminals and the international popular cradle of the resistance, to stand with the Palestinian resistance and all of the forces of resistance in the region, fighting on the front lines to defend humanity, for a free Palestine, and for true justice and liberation, and who show the meaning every single day of what international solidarity can, should, and must be. Free, free Palestine.
There you go. That was Charlotte Cates. She's a Samudin Palestinian Prisoner Solidarity Network representative, and they're based out in Canada. And last but not least, we'll be getting a message from Yasmina Akar. She's a Kurdish-Turkish activist based out in Germany. This is what she has to say, and this is her message to the people of Palestine.
Solidarity with Palestine. Let us pause and reflect on what true solidarity means. Solidarity is more than just a word. It's about standing up for shared values, rights, and goals. It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of people and struggles and acting in ways that promote justice, equality, and support for those in need. In this case, it's about standing with Palestine. Today I speak to you from inside a hospital in Germany, a place where healthcare is available and fully functioning. Meanwhile, in Gaza, hospitals have become battlegrounds. Out of 36 hospitals, only 17 are partially operational, while the remaining 19 are completely out of service. In Gaza, doctors are being tortured to death. Babies are left behind in incubators. In 14 months, Israel has killed over 1,000 healthcare workers and jailed nearly 300. Yet here I am, sitting in a fully functioning hospital in the very country that not only fuels the ongoing genocide, but actively supports the bombing of hospitals and the killing of innocent civilians. For 76 years, the world has not just stood by in silence while Palestinians endure the harsh reality of ethnic cleansing. It has actively fueled it. Germany is currently the second largest arms supplier to apartheid Israel. Because of this lack of justice, the world needs days like today to remind us of the inhumane conditions that millions of Palestinians are living under and to urge us to act. But I believe we should aim for more than a day on the calendar. We must refuse to become numb to the numbers and statistics that represent Palestinian lives. We must reject the idea of special days in a calendar, as these days are established by the oppressor. The Palestinian cause has never needed us to be reminded. We must act every day until full liberation, while knowing that fighting for Palestine is also fighting for Lebanon, a nation that has suffered under the Zionist occupation for far too long. Therefore, we demand justice for Palestine and for Lebanon, and nothing less.
There you have it. That was a very, very strong message from Yasmina Akar. She's a Kurdish-Turkish activist based out in Germany. And I think making that connection of healthcare and how she was speaking to us live from a hospital, but in an inverse in Palestine, is the total opposite. Hospitals, places where people get, healthcare, have literally turned into battlegrounds. So the comparison is just crazy at this point. You can't even compare Palestine to any country in the world right now. And the crazy part is we are in the 21st century. We are living in what we all consider the future. The world is interconnected through small little devices. We can talk to each other from anywhere in the planet, but we are watching and doing nothing as a genocide is literally live streamed. We are watching it happen right before our eyes, and there's in action from almost all spheres of this planet. We have come to the end of the show, but I'm not leaving you like that. I'm leaving you with one of the most powerful and I think very, very inspirational segments that we have here on Salam Media. It's a hashtag Fired Up. This is proudly sponsored by Africa Muslims Agency, and they've been a beacon of hope to communities in Africa and beyond for 35 years. And today's topic is when you help others succeed. When you help others succeed, you become a true success yourself. Take a listen. We'll be with you again on Monday. Assalamu alaikum.
We are here in the middle of a Zahra neighborhood. The whole neighborhood is already destroyed. More than 17 towers are down. Here, as you can see, the firefighters trying their best to help. The people are still under the rubble. A lot of the people.
Join Hamza on his exclusive South African tour as he shares his personal experiences, never before seen footage, and powerful insights on the ongoing genocide in Gaza. This is more than just a talk. It's an invitation to witness Gaza through the lens of Hamza Sha'alan. Don't miss this opportunity to meet the photojournalist who brought Gaza's pain and perseverance to the world in its darkest moments. Follow Salam Media on social media pages for more on this tour and be part of the conversation.